Hello, I'm making this video for my GoFundMe campaign. It's come to my attention that Greg Williams, who funded a video called The Anonymous People in support of people who are in recovery, who deal with stigma and adjusting to life without alcohol or drugs, he has recently opened up a website to promote a march on Washington, D.C. in October. It's going to be the full weekend of October 4th, 2nd through the 4th. And apparently there will be a variety of activities. He is encouraging people to come to Washington, D.C. And my idea was that I would try to raise enough money to get a bus to drive down to D.C. to be a part of the weekend. To tell a little bit about my story, I'm a recovering alcoholic of 27 years. My inspiration for quitting comes from many directions. Initially, my sister was pregnant with my first niece, and that was a bit of a wake-up call. I did not want her child to grow up seeing me in the condition I was in at the time. I was drinking daily. I never really used much in the way of drugs. I was fully aware of what they would do to you, how they would harm the body, and I, for the most part, stayed away from those. But drinking was, as a youth, very accepted, and my father passed at age 7, and my mother started seeing a man who was a heavy drinker, and it was acceptable to be drinking, and at my age, which was about 10, 11 years old, I thought that was acceptable to be that way. And in probably about 5 years, I developed to the point where, looking back, I probably was developing a very serious problem. By 19, the problem was getting very bad, and for about 8 years, 8 to 10 years, I had a pretty serious drinking problem. Once I decided to quit, a few months after, when I was an outpatient, an article was printed by a player about a player who I was very fond of. Played for the Detroit Red Wings, and his name was Bob Probert, and he discussed his struggle with alcohol, and he talked about how hard it really was, and it inspired me. I figured if this guy, who was somebody who I admired, was having a problem, and I could see it in myself, I was early on, it gave me encouragement just by reading his story to find sobriety, to keep up with it. About a year and a half, 2 years into my sobriety, situation came up where it must have been the hand of God. I was able to meet him, and he asked me why I was such a big fan, and I explained to him his article and his struggle, and for about half an hour he encouraged me. we had conversations about hockey, and but I did a lot of talking about my personal life, and he was very encouraging, and he challenged me. And for me, that was very big because he was somebody I admired. Um, I never got a chance to tell him how much it meant to me. I was able to tell his family because Bob passed away 5 years ago with a heart blockage, nothing to do with his substance abuse. And my understanding is at the end of his life, he was able to enjoy a fairly sober life, which I'm grateful for because when I left him, that was the one thing I wished for him. Over the 7 or 8 years I've been on Facebook, I reach out to people that struggle, that are trying to figure out how to do it. I've 27 years without a relapse, and I've used different tricks. They're not really tricks; they make common sense. I reinforce myself with positive things that lead me along a positive path. And in the last few years, I found Christ. I'm a reborn Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe that He's led my path to where I am now, and I have been able to help various people on Facebook. And I've done a lot of reading on the effects of cleaning up after having a substance abuse problem, and it is difficult because the body wants to pull you back in. And in the addiction that affects the reward system in your brain, and it's a terrible battle. And the stigma that people put other people through by making comments that really are harmful. And we've had movements with racial to try to create equality between the races, and it's come a long way, and that has to go a lot further. We've also been working on trying to create equality with the gay community, and we've come a long way. But again, it needs to go further. People have to learn not to judge people by the color of their skin or by their preferences and who they love. And now it's time that we stand up for the people who are dealing with addictions. It is what I believe is a flaw in the brain. From everything that I've read, everyone has a certain flaw. It may not be addiction, it may be some smaller thing that is more socially acceptable, but we have to start accepting people for who they are and being able to reach a hand out and give someone a hand up. There is no excuse for denigrating someone who is struggling with a problem that is hard to control. I've been recovering 27 years and I still have moments. What I'm asking for people to do is to give a donation. Give what you can. My goal is 5,000, and I want to get a bus and bring people from my area in Detroit and take them to DC and help people become aware that we are people too, and we are not going to be pushed off to the side. We want help. We want to be a part of society. We want to be productive. Nobody grows up wanting to be an addict. Nobody grows up wanting to be a drunk. There's a lot of pain that's involved with people who end up going down the road of drinking or drug use. And there are people who casually use, but it doesn't matter. We have to show non-judgment on people who are struggling, and we have to raise awareness, and we have to fight. This is a fight I believe in. I don't have to be fiery. I don't have to get angry. I'm asking you not to judge. And I'm asking you to donate to help bring people to DC in October so that we can have our voices heard and raise awareness and get help from the government to help us be the most productive people we can be in society. This is important. Please donate. Give what you can. Thank you.